Hi, welcome to my August 2020 update on my video game Drone Alone. Here I'm going to show some of the changes I made to the dynamic camera system when you're docked into a station. Unfortunately, my recording software makes things very choppy. It's actually much smoother in game. But the main thing I wanted to do was change the transitions from different camera angles to be a bit more less jarring. And also something that you can see here is I've added a little bit more camera views for the different components. Some of them are a little dramatic, like the power core or the engine, but it gives a view of each different part. Something that you can also see here as well, which is not really wanted, but it does help in the long term, is I'm using a technique for the texturing called virtual textures. This allows me to have textures that take up not as much memory when playing, but also still be quite high resolution. So a lot of these textures are actually 4K, and the game will scale them up and down depending on how much detail is actually on screen. One of the last systems I had to create was the crafting system, which is found on stations. You can use this to analyze gear that is found in your storage, either in the station or on the drone. And when you analyze it, it will give you a schematic. As you can see here, when analyzing an item, you also have a chance that the item might get destroyed. It will always give you a schematic, but the item itself might get destroyed. So here I'm going to take a few more items off the drone's equipped items and put them in my storage. You can't, thankfully, destroy items that you have equipped. So here, let's analyze the lights. And as you can see, it was destroyed, but I do get the schematic from it. Some of the UI is not finalized. You can see here, for example, I'm going to actually click on the schematics to recreate the items because I have enough materials to create them, but there's no real indication at the moment yet that it's actually creating it. But when I do go check in inventory, they are there. Here is the mainframe system, just a small update, mostly just to the UI. I wasn't really too happy with the temporary UI I was using, so now they look more like programs, I would say, and then just the colors have changed a bit in terms of what they look like when they're enabled or disabled. And one of the other systems that I had to design was the upgrade system. Here again, it will show equipment in both storages or on the drone itself, and you can actually use materials to upgrade them, and it will increase certain stats. You can also, if the item has mod slots, you can add mods to the items. So here, for example, I'll be adding 5% crit chance and a 10% damage to a test mining cannon. So in combination with mod slots and upgradable items, as you play, you can make your character a bit more powerful, quicker, be able to take more damage, things like that. Currently, the cost is just testing cost. That'll probably cost a lot more once I'm further on in the game, obviously. I also did some work on the icons. These are temporary icons, but I had to implement some materials for them just to make it a little bit more visual. And you can see here they're a little bit more colorful. And almost every item will have at least an icon for the type of icon that it is, rather than maybe a specific one for each item. I'm not a 2D artist, so it's not something that I'm very good at. And some of the user interface icons have also been updated, as you can see in the bottom right corner, for the scanner and the mining cannons as they're active. And here's what it kind of looks like all together. The UI icon, the new UI icons, and the new icons for the items. One of the final menus I wanted to create was a data menu and knowledge base. So here you can see in the log, for example, I'll show you distance traveled, the number of times you scan things, how many times you mined ore, just normal while playing stats basically. And then the next section is the file system. This is where you'll have all the data items that you collected. So schematics, for example, are shown here. So for programs for your mainframe, other things will be like decals, stuff like that. And then the last section is the database, and this will have any item that you encounter at least once in the game. It will be recorded here. So here you'll be able to find all the different pieces of gear that you've either looted or equipped or created. Same goes for minerals, asteroid types, atomic elements that mine from the asteroids, things like that. And here's an example quickly after a little bit longer playing session, showing how distance travel has been updated and that I've encountered a lot more elements through either scanning or mining. I also did some work on just a quick gameplay feature to be able to toggle text on icons. Originally, because I didn't have any icon graphics, you had text on everything. But now in the game, you can toggle either having text on the icons or not, depending on what you prefer. One of the major pieces of work that I've been doing in the last couple of weeks has been on load times. Here you can see an example of the new loading times. I have another video that actually explains what I did and how I was able to improve the loading times. This is a major change because it went from 2 minutes now to literally a couple of seconds. And obviously there's still stuff to add to the game, so I'm very happy to be able to see these loading times being much quicker, even with this footage that is recorded in engine, which is a bit slower. And one of the more recent things I've also been working on, since the loading times are now much lower, is actually improving the loading screens. Here's an example of just a quick loading screen. Unfortunately, it's actually so quick you barely get to see it, but I'll keep working on that. And finally, for this update, I also wanted to add some liveliness to the world. And when you collide with some debris, it kind of just gets impacted and goes. Thank you very much for watching. You can find out more at my website, hellscoregames.com. And if you'd like some more behind-the-scene information or help me out on developing my first game, you can also check me out on Patreon. Thank you very much.